Okay, so we'll continue with class two, which is an outline of the Sutran discipline. I'm going to need to screen share, so if I can be given that possibility. I don't see it on my screen. Should be a little green icon at the bottom of my screen, right?
Sumati, you can. Your co-organization.
I can't.
No, you can. Yes. Screen. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay, sorry. I was on a, hang on. Need to move. Okay, I'll screen share later. Okay, so we're going to do an overview of the structure of the wish fulfilling jewel, which explains the entire 16,000 pages of Vinaya in a condensed form. And then we'll go into parts of it in greater detail for the rest of the course. Tony Lama Shedrup starts with an obeisance to Lord Buddha and the story of how over the many thousands of lives he reached enlightenment, and also has an explanation of the two root texts that we mentioned earlier. Tony Lama's commentary on Master Gunaprabha's Sutra on Discipline spends a lot of time on the life of Lord Buddha because Vinaya is all about karma, actions, and consequences. Whatever happens that we don't like, we can blame. No, I'm not sharing it yet. That's okay. Thank you for asking. By studying correlations, we can begin to see how past actions are painting the picture of our present world and how to change through focusing on various deeds, our future world. I think that's a very elegant description. By studying the correlations, we can begin to see how past actions are painting the picture of our present world and how to change it through focusing on our virtuous deeds for our future world. We tend to, I tend to think, yeah, I understand karma naturalists are making my world. I understand that. But then you look at the world and you react to it as if it's self-existent. You don't think you are, but when I open the refrigerator to see if I've got anything for dinner tonight, I'm opening it thinking there's something self-existently on the shelf that I can use to make dinner. And there isn't. It's all coming from my past karma. So, yes, I believe in karma and emptiness. I think I have a reasonably good handle on it. But no, I don't, because when I open that refrigerator, when I get in the car and turn the car on, when I open up my computer and start working on it, it's bottom line, gun to my head. I think it's there self-existently. So, okay. So we need to we need to review the three levels of reality briefly. There's obvious reality, that which we perceive directly with our senses, and appears obvious to me, but is not likely to be exactly the same for you. Then there's subtle or deep reality that requires logical reasoning. Emptiness is a good example. The fact that looking over the couch to the table, and I'm reasoning that the table and chairs have legs too. So when I look over the dinner table and I see a chair, I'm logically believe that there's legs to the chair. I can't see it, but I logically generate the thought that the legs are there. Then there's the subtle workings of karma. We have karmic ripenings happening at 65 per second that generate our world. With the 85,000 afflictions, the subtle combinations of karmic deeds to generate my word are extremely well hidden from me. Vinaya is what we call at DM a list of guidelines. We don't see them as strict rules inhibiting our lives. We see them as a guidebook to change our lives, a positive approach rather than a negative approach. So if we work backwards, if we see our reality now, see what we don't like, use the Vinaya teachings to figure out what we need to avoid to stop perpetuating the parts we don't like, and what to do to get us what is desirable. So the meaning of the text, Vinaya Sutra. Vinaya, learn to tame or control things. Sutra, short book. So a short book on how to tame or control things, wrong thoughts and desires for sense objects. Obeisance. There was an early Tibetan king, I don't recall his name, that set up a tradition for identifying the subject matter of a text. So, obeisance to Lord Manjushri, the text will be on wisdom, emptiness. Obeisance to Lord Buddha, it will be on the subtle workings of karma and the Vinaya. Obeisance to Avalokiteshvara, it will be on compassion. And obedience to Buddha Vajradhara, it will be a text on Tantra. So what makes a book worth studying? I think in this case, definitely a Dharma text. There are 4 points that we use to evaluate whether a Buddhist text is worth studying. First, is the subject matter meaningful? Second, the purpose. Plant the seed of ethics for this book we're looking at now. The ultimate goal of the book is total enlightenment or nirvana. And 4, the relationship between the prior 3. To attain nirvana requires wisdom which is developed by studying the book. If it doesn't have these 4 in their relationships, it's not a good Buddhist book. Now, there was something I was planning to see. Oh. So, there are 2 forms of enlightenment. So, Lana, can you tell me what those 2 forms are?
Like just enlightenment and total enlightenment.
Right. It wasn't a trick question. This is a question that I struggled with for several years because I couldn't get a definitive answer. And then I finally had a chance to ask Geshe Michael. Because to me, there's enlightenment. How can you be partially enlightened? There's enlightenment. Well, self-made Buddhas, solitary realizers, and listeners all have as their goal nirvana. That's their enlightenment. So the term bodhicitta, and this is confusing in the ACI literature because they use enlightenment and total enlightenment almost interchangeably. So nirvana is the goal of the listeners and self-made Buddhas and realizers. And if you look at the word bodhicitta, it's the wish for enlightenment. Not total enlightenment, that's Mahayana bodhicitta. But straight bodhicitta is the wish for enlightenment. Well, for a self-made Buddha and solitary realizer and listener, that's nirvana. So for a Mahayana practitioner, the bodhisattva, total enlightenment is the goal. So the actual commentary has three parts. How to get the vows properly. Don't see the vows as a limitation. See it as helping you grow wings to fly to total enlightenment. Good deeds done with vows have vastly greater karmic results than those done without vows. And the same is for the bad deeds. It's like I've told more than one couple I know when they're thinking of just living together, not getting married. I say to them, I look at the marriage vow as being something that reinforces how can I put this? If you're living together, you can cheat on the other person and you can do all kinds of things because there's no consequence. You haven't vowed anything. But if you have a marriage vow, then you've got a set of limiting factors on how you can behave. So yes, you can do the six perfections without having taken the bodhisattva vows. And you'll do well with them. You'll produce good karma. But if you take the bodhisattva vows and then do the six perfections, it's much more powerful. There's a proper way to ask for the vows and to receive them so that they're meaningful. How to keep the vows after you get them. This is the book we're going to be looking into. Rely on your Ne Lama, a resident teacher, a guide to it. The Ne Lama system was in the monasteries. A young monk would have an older monk be their Ne Lama or resident teacher. So that's A. B, relying on inner support, remembering your intense desire to take the vows, how you swore to uphold them. You took vows to get out of this suffering life. C, good understanding of factors that work against them, so you need to know the vows pretty well, what to do with conflicting vows, which one has the priority. Mastering the monastic practices of Sojang, a confession twice a month, Yame, the 3-month summer retreat, and Galye, the 3-week celebration at the end of the retreat. Learn how to restore your vows if they get damaged, confession and purification, reconciliation. Ancillary points, how to construct a monastery, how to draw the wheel of life, etc. This is all covered in the text. Opening quote, put that painting of the wheel of suffering life in the foyer. Give it 5 parts. The study of the wheel of life is the study of dependent origination and emptiness. And we teach it as a separate course, but I'm going to do a brief overview now. So now I'm going to try sharing my screen. So, share. Okay, you see a wheel of life? Yeah,
Yes,
good.
yes,
Can you see my cursor on it?
yes. I see a picture.
You see my cursor moving? Okay. There's a 7-part instruction on how to draw the wheel of life. There are 5 spokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 spokes to the wheel, representing the 5 realms of existence. And there are 6 if pleasure beings are split into 2 sections. Pleasure beings, well, 1, 2. So this is split the pleasure beings into 2 sections here. Bardo beings, you don't get born in hell, you appear there. Paint them in a chain to represent beings going up and down from realm to realm, being born again and again. So this is the Bardo being. They're the 3 ignorant desires. The 3 poisons, rooster or pigeon is desire, liking things ignorantly. Snake is anger and aversion, not liking things ignorantly. And the pig is ignorance himself, or of how things truly exist and are created. I have an interesting story about the wheel of life when you walk into the temple at Diamond Mountain. There's a large tanka that's the wheel of life tanka. My wife and I donated that to Diamond Mountain. One of our first one of our first trips to see our first teaching with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We went to Pasadena, California, and in the basement of the convention center was a market of Tibetan things you could buy. And they had this tanka, and we looked at it, we loved it. I wanted to buy it right away, and my wife said, no, we should wait till tomorrow. And I said, I don't think it'll be here tomorrow. I think we need to buy it now. So one of the few times my lovely wife agreed with me, and we bought it right then and there and took it home with us and took it to our hotel. The next morning, we went down to see if there was anything else we might like, and there was no store there. There were no stalls. It was as if it had never happened. You know, I don't take that wasn't give me the goosebumps, but knowing what I knew in the day before, I knew that if we didn't buy it then, we wouldn't have a chance to buy it. So every time I walk into the temple, I get a chance to look at that, and it makes me feel like I did something right in my life. Okay, let's continue on. Traditionally, the older wheel of lives have the tails of the rooster and the snake coming from the pig's mouth, signifying how the source of all our problems is not understanding how karma and emptiness are two sides of the same coin. And the 12 links are 12 pictures describing the process of rebirth. One, two, three. 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 links. Everything is in the clutches. Oh, you need to, you're seeing this in the clutches of Yama, the monster of impermanence. How your very own acts, ignorance is killing you day by day. So that's this grotesque figure here. The image of Lord Buddha should be outside the 5 realms, pointing to a white heavenly body, showing the way to nirvana. So the real life structure is correct, except I don't recall if the okay, the snake and the dove are coming out of the pig's mouth. Everything is in the clutches of Yama. Image of the Buddha should be outside the 3 realms, pointing to a white heavenly body, showing the way to nirvana. So there's Lord Buddha, pointing to the white heavenly body. At the bottom are 2 verses, what to take up and what to give up. So we need to learn what to do and what not to do in taking up the teachings of Lord Buddha. We need to smash the lure of death like an elephant squashes a reed hut. Anyone who with proper care practices the Dharma, which is the Vinaya, will be able to leave behind the wheel of rebirth and put an end to all suffering. Amazingly, lost in most teachings of the wheel of life is the fact that it's a teaching on ethics, taming one's mind to create, to change, training one's mind to sense desires in order to break the cycle of rebirth. So what we're doing with the wheel of life is showing how we're perpetuating the cycle of rebirth. We teach a separate teaching on the wheel of life, which is a lot of fun. We should do that sometime. Okay, I can stop screen sharing. So these two opening classes are the kind of an overview of what we're going to be studying in much more detail. That's all I've got for class 2. So, are there any questions? This is a pretty generic, pretty broad stroke. So let's if it's not going to be too confusing, so I don't know, let's go ahead and start at 10. Go back to the original time frame. I think that may have been part of the problem. People couldn't clear their schedules for that earlier hour, but we'll do it. Then we're teaching Saturday as well. So teaching Thursday, the 10th, and then Saturday, the 12th. Okay. Okay. Well, let's dedicate this may the source of benefit and goodness, the Dharma, spread and expand. May the beings upholding the Dharma have excellent health. May the source of happiness and well-being for all embodied beings, the Dharma type of the Buddhas, always increase. Okay. That's class for today. We'll see you all on Thursday, and good to see you all. Have a good next couple of days.
Thank you, the Venerable Sumati.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, we'll pick it up on Thursday. Bye-bye.